A warm welcome to this new series of education that is called as Value Education. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce this series for all of you. My name is Prashant Stephens and I am an educator. I have trained a lot of professionals, academicians, students in various projects which talks about my capability of delivering this lecture series to you. Well, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce myself, as in I am basically having 12 years of experience into HR, into learning and development, as well as I'm presently working as a freelance trainer. Now, as you all know that it is the value education series which has been introduced by the government, and it has become a kind of a compulsory part of your curriculum. This kind of education is very important. This education is really important for all of us to shape up our thinking process, our perception towards life. This kind of training projects can also be categorized into life skills trainings, which is very important for even for the students, for adults, as well as for professionals. So I welcome all of you for this series, and we will be having a kind of a session which we would be discussing on various topics related to life skills, value education, professionalism, and many more. So without wasting your time, we will start the session, and the session name is about value education. Now, what do you mean by value education? What comes to your mind when it comes to value education? If you ask me, value education is all about understanding the human aspects, the human values that we have. We all are born with some sort of values. We get values from our parents, teachers, from our friends, from our colleagues, and many more, and even with the environment in which we live in. So my dear students, as a part of this session, we would be discussing on various aspects. So this first session is going to make you understand what is value education. As you are all budding professionals in your respective domain, you are going to step out from your college and you are going to pursue your career. But this kind of education is definitely going to help you that how are you going to cope up with the challenges in your professional career. So it gives me a really great, I'm quite excited rather to conduct all these series for you. Well, when it comes to value education, we have been studying a lot about value education. So I would not be taking much of the time on focusing on what is a value education and all, but we are just going to quickly go through as in what is going to be the objective of today's session. So this is the first session which I'm going to conduct, followed by the series of sessions. But yes, each session is surely going to be interlinked with other previous sessions. So today we are going to talk about what are values, what is the concept of human values. We are going to also take a lot of, one or two case studies in conjunction to what we are going to discuss. And we are going to understand how it is important for us to nurture, to develop these values and what kind of impact it will create in the society, okay? So we are also going to understand about self-analysis and introspection. So yes, my dear students, I would really like to request you if you can keep your pen, paper ready, make your own notes, create some sort of understanding about yourself, do some deep diving as you're going through the learning sessions. I would also request if you can pause, take a thought on what we have covered, or what really there would be a lot of questions that would be coming in your mind. So I would also request you that keep your pen and paper ready, put jot down some questions and try to analyze yourself. Okay, so these are going to be very self-explanatory kind of sessions, but yes, a lot of question would go into your mind when it comes to values, life skills, and many more such topics. So yes, each session I would request you to keep your pen and paper ready and focus and give complete attention to what we are going to discuss. So without wasting much of our time, we would proceed with today's session. So what keeps you happy? Now, this is a very interesting question, my dear students. What keeps us happy? What really keeps us happy is maybe some of you, you would feel like, okay, going out will keep me happy, or traveling would keep me happy, or rather, spending quality time with my friends would keep me happy. But do we really feel like these are the only things that would keep us happy? Ask a question to yourself. Take a pause and ask question to yourself that what keeps you happy? Is it only the external factors keeps us happy, or do we have something that really, keeps us moving or keeps the ball rolling? Ask this question to yourself. What keeps us happy, or what keeps me happy rather? So many of us might be thinking, okay, getting good scores in exams would keep me happy, or spending time with my friends would keep me happy. Or let's say, for example, I love to go for a movie with my friends, my colleagues, my uh, cousins, or my family members would keep me happy. There are so many things. Happiness cannot be expressed in one situation, right? So what keeps me happy rather would not keep you happy, or rather what keeps you happy would not keep me happy. So this is a very, it's a very unexplained term of happiness. No one can define what is happiness. But I would still request you, as you have, I hope you have kept your pen and paper ready, but I would just request you that please write down some points. What keeps you happy? Do you plan your day that, okay, today I would complete all my tasks and I would ensure that everything goes as per my plan, and that would really keep me happy? Is it so that, such things are, well planned, and you plan your day, and as you complete each and every task, you just do the tick mark, and that will keep you happy? So you need to question yourself. What is happiness? What is happiness? For me, in many occasions, I feel, okay, what I decided for the entire day, everything is going as per the planned, sequence or schedule, and that will keep me happy. That will give me a sense of achievement and joy, that yes, I'm a good planner. I love to plan. I love to execute how what I thought, and everything is happening and everything sets in its place. That keeps me happy. India wins the match, I'm happy. So you need to define the periphery of happiness. This periphery of happiness would be different for other people. It may not be the same for what your friends have and what you have. So that is very important as a student, as a person, as a professional, that define your happiness. Don't wait for others that, okay, my friend gives me something, I will be happy. Happiness cannot be dependent on anyone. It is all within yourself. That is what the values of human beings are. As a human being, you need to understand what makes me happy. Are the external factors going to keep me happy, or is it going to be my internal happiness that is going to drive me? So you need to understand what keeps you happy. So ask this question every day to yourself and define what is your periphery of happiness. Then the next question which I have, how do you strive to keep yourself happy? Now you know that, okay, these things will keep me happy, but then how do you strive? Strive in the sense, what are your steps? What are your strategies in keeping yourself happy? Is it okay, you have planned that, okay, today I'm going to attend the lecture, I'm going to study hard, I'm going to secure good marks. I'm going to ensure that I will keep my parents happy. But what are the strategies that you are taking? Again, you need to question yourself. Although these questions sound to be very simple, very, what is it? Like, what should I strive? Or how should I strive to keep myself happy? Is it when I help someone that will give me a kind of inner satisfaction, happiness? Or when I, when I take a good amount of rest that will keep me happy? Or when I have plenty of bank balance in my account that will keep me happy? So need to define. You need to be a little, logical in your definition of happiness. It's a very important thing, my dear students, in today's scenario, because we are all going through a very tough situation. We are all going through a pandemic situation. Global crises are there. People are losing jobs. Businesses are shutting down. And what we have is just, the handful of happiness to keep us moving, to fight against these crises, to ensure that we are also happy and we also keep others happy. So in this current scenario, and obviously moving ahead when situation normalizes, I would also request, ask this question: how am I striving to keep myself happy? If your happiness is just to help someone, that's great. If your happiness is that, okay, you want to achieve something, you have planned that I will complete this course, I will complete this kind of certification, I will ensure that I get placed in a good organization. Define your happiness and ensure that what type of measures you're taking, or what baby steps you're taking, or what strategies you're taking in achieving towards that goal. So happiness is one goal, but moving towards the happiness or trying to achieve that happiness would be your secondary goal. So first you define what is happiness. You wrote your points in your diary or in your notebook. The next question I asked you, what strives, or rather, how do you strive to keep yourself happy? These are the steps that you are taking on daily basis. So it is not that okay, one day you do it, the next day you stop doing it because something happens that demoralize you, or someone says something to you and you start feeling demotivated. That should not be your case. It is an ongoing process. It keeps happening on regular basis. Okay. So these are certain things which you need to take into consideration. Then again, my question comes, what is happiness? Well, looking at this picture, a very interesting thing, everyone might be perceiving this picture in a very different way. For some of you, it might be looking at a beautiful flower, with dews on the flower. Okay, it's a very good morning scene. Everyone likes to visit, to keep themselves happy. They visit a garden because there are beautiful flowers. You see the birds flying and so on. Even I love to visit gardens. I love to visit gardens. I love to watch beautiful flowers. I love to see the nature, the beauty of the nature. So many things are there for us. It's a kind of a, package, or a kind of a, a gift which is wrapped by God and given to us on daily basis. Yes. So looking at this picture, I want you to write something, that what comes to your mind. As you know, these are flowers. It can be any type of flower. I don't know what type of flower it is. And there are some, dewdrops on it. Okay. So these dewdrops are nothing, but it symbolizes some sort of happiness. Okay. It gives you kind of a pleasure to the eye to watch such beautiful flowers, and such dewdrops on the flower gives symbolizes the freshness on the flower, right? So happiness is also something like that. It blossoms for some time. It blossoms for some time, but after some time, or maybe after a few days, few months, it withers. So can happiness be permanent? It is similar to flowers, or rather the dewdrop on the flowers. It may look, okay, now I'm happy. I don't have anything to achieve. I don't have anything to do. I'm satisfied. I'm content. But that happiness, that contentness would not last for a long time. It will be for some time. It will give you that sense of achievement, that sense of satisfaction, the sense of, you have done something good, which is really nice, which is really good. But it will not be for a long time. So look at these flowers. They wither away as the time passes, as the nature changes its shades according to the seasons. It also changes, there are, at times you might see, gardens are flooded with good flowers, beautiful, trees, a lot of greeneries here and there, especially during the monsoon season. You love traveling because people, observe so much of greenery in and around. So happiness is also like that. You cannot keep happiness, confined in a space. You cannot keep happiness, don't expect happiness would be for a long time. As seasons changes, happiness or any situation comes, your happiness goes away. But what I'm talking about is the inner sense of happiness, something which cannot be stolen. It is deep within you, in your heart. The values that we carry, those values would give us, bountiful of happiness, and it will be for a long time throughout our life. And that transforms into something which is very beautiful. As a flower, it also is said that a flower also gives a lot of fragrance to different people. Our life would also be like a flower. We beautify the situation, the scenario, wherever we go, like a flower. Okay, so that's what I want to highlight the point on. Then we always fail to differentiate between needs and desires. Now, as I told you, this point is very related, something to our needs. This diagram, I know most of you would be aware that this is something kind of a Maslow's need hierarchy diagram, a need hierarchy theory designed by Maslow. Now, if you go from it is a pyramid diagram. Now there are, 5 levels of, or 5 stages which he has defined. And these are popularly called as 5 stages of Maslow's need hierarchy theory. Now the first stage is popularly called as the biological or the physiological need of a human being. Now, what we require is food, good sleep, and water. In Hindi, it is popularly called as roti kapda or makan. It was also a famous film of the yesteryears actor, Mr. Rajesh Khanna. And this clearly defines that our basic needs are the biological needs, the physiological needs. Like we need, clothes to protect ourselves, we need a shelter, and we need food to survive. If these needs are not satisfied, we cannot think anything beyond that. Once these needs are satisfied, then we think about safety. Safety means not only related to physical safety, but also safety of your health, your family, in terms of your finance, everything. So it also needs, the second level. It has been categorized as the second level of requirement or a need. Okay. Now, once you achieve the second level of need, you move to the third level, that is love or belonging. You need, as a human being, we are all social animals. We cannot live in isolation. For some time it feels okay, it's good to stay alone. But you just imagine if you're, if you are asked to live in an isolated island. You might have seen a lot of movies wherein couples or some, travelers, they lose the track or they lose the direction, and their ship or their boat goes into a kind of a no man's land. Okay, so if you are, just imagine yourself in that situation, that you are living in an isolated island, a beautiful island with a lot of flowers, with a lot of fruits, beautiful trees, and you just imagine, how would you survive there? If there is no one to talk, there is no one to discuss, no one, wherein you can share your emotions, your feelings. Would you be able to survive in that island? Probably no. Yes, your basic your physiological, your safety needs are taken care. But if you're living in an isolated island, would you be able to survive? The answer is no. Maybe for a week, maybe for a month at a stretch, you might be able to do it. But still, as a social animal, you need someone with whom you can share your emotions. The fourth level is esteem. Now, esteem is respect, care, affection, your sense of strength that you derive by being associated with someone. Now, as you know that even you are, as you're studying in college, tomorrow also you will be passing out and you will be starting with your professional journey. In any context, whatever you think, you all need some sort of self-esteem. Esteem is a pride of being associated with something. Tomorrow, once you join a good organization, you'll feel proud that, yes, I'm working with XYZ company. It's one of the highly rated multinational company. They are the pioneers in this technology, that technology. They produce all world-class technology products. Yes, we all love to be part of such, organizations. Even if you are even part of a good group within your college circle, they are very good, students. They are highly educated. They are they are good in hackathons. They are good in technology. And if you are part of that group, you feel pride. You feel very happy and excited that yes, I'm part of something. You're not all alone. So that is the fourth level of need as a human being, according to Maslow's theory. So that gives you respect, status, recognition, strength, and self-esteem. Then the fifth, that is the highest level of need, is the self-actualization. Now, which means that meeting one's full potential in life, different for every person. Now, this self-actualization need may not be same for everyone. We have achieved all the basic needs, then belongingness, safety, esteem, but self-actualization might be different. Some of them, once they have achieved, everything in their life, they have all the property, the bank balances, they have, they have got the esteem, they have got, got the recognition, everything. But now they need some kind of peace. And I've seen many entrepreneurs and big people, they just leave everything aside and they go and stay in ISO. Okay, they stay in peace, serenity, wherein no one is there to disturb. That's how they feel. That's a kind of a self-actualization. It's something which you think deep within yourself, something which you feel like, okay, this is what I believe in. That is what the purpose of my life is. It is not about just gaining the materialistic life. It is not about just gaining something which is there for a limited period of time. You start thinking life beyond that. The immortality. What happens if tomorrow I die? What is my journey of life? So all these aspects together, form a kind of a pyramid, and that is what is called as a need hierarchy, theory, which has been designed by Maslow. But now my question again is very clear, and I want to even ask this question for myself, that do we really understand the difference between need and desire? What is need and what is desire? Need are needs which we have already discussed. We have already, seen this beautiful image. But desire is something which we keep having even if our needs are satisfied. So here we need to understand what is your need. Needs are something which is required. You need it. You desperately want, without which you cannot survive. If you are not getting food for a week or day, you will feel weak. You will not be energetic. You will not feel, a normal human being, because you're not getting the supplements, the required energy from the food. You won't be interested in doing anything. You will feel weak. You'll probably fall sick, and that will lead to a different level of sickness. But that's a need. That's a basic thing. But desires are something. Desires something I want to have a kind of a huge bank balance. I want to travel in Rolls Royce. I want to have a private jet, something which is luxury, something which is, yes, you aspire to become in life? You want to become a CEO of of company. That is your desire. That's your passion. That's something which drives. But if your needs are not satisfied, you won't be probably thinking of going there. You ask a daily wage earner, what is his need? He will say, if I'm able to satisfy the hunger of my child, that is what my need is. He will always ensure that he will get that, daily wage to keep his family's requirement or meet the needs of the family or meet both the ends of the family. But if you ask a multimillionaire, his needs or desires are different. So here we need to understand that, are we really striving to, achieve the needs, or are we really striving to achieve our desires? So the basic objective is very clear, that if your needs are not satisfied, you cannot think of accomplishing your desires. So desires, yes, you can categorize them as something which is your goal in life, something which can be categorized into luxury things. But yes, it is always good to have desires. But first you need to focus on what is your need. Okay, so that's very important. Then the next thing which is very important is all these aspects revolve around values. Now, what are values? Many people feel, or you would be thinking, okay, values are something what we learn from our parents, from our teachers, from our school days. It can be also considered as certain principles, some ethics that we observe, we inculcate in our life, that can also be called as values. Perfect, you're all right, you're not wrong. But yes, this picture clearly denotes a lot of, ideas, or rather it will give you a lot of indication that what exactly the word values mean. Now let's move, to the next picture. Values are like the root of, or rather the roots of a tree. Now you might have drawn in your school days, in your childhood, how the tree diagram looks. Well, tree, once it grows up, it grows because of its strong roots. We don't generally water the tree every time, because its roots have deeply penetrated deep within the earth, wherein it gets the nourishment as well as the water, which is required for it to survive for a long period of time. Now, the roots are of our life is also like a tree. If we want to become successful, if we want to become, strong, that no one can really shatter us, that means our roots are strong. It is always said that you draw your roots from your family. And it is also rightly said that whatever you learn, whatever you become in life, it has, close relations, or rather a very deep relation to your family, from where you come. And it is very well said. Well, I would also say that there are a lot of values. I would also request, if you can just draw a tree, imagine that you are a tree and how your roots have deeply penetrated. Many of you come from a family, different family background. Different family background means different values that you bring. And obviously your parents always strive to give you the best values, the best education. And that's where you are, right? So let's imagine, we will take some examples like hope, challenge, commitment, gratitude, professionalisms. Now, these are nothing but these are values, which is there deep within yourself. Now, when you talk about hope, we all have hope, the desire, or rather it's a belief in what we do, believes in the best in everyone. Now, if you believe that you have something in you, you'll always showcase the same for others. The next is, yes, if you're hopeful as a person, as a professional, you would always believe in positivity. That yes, I have a hope, I will definitely achieve success in my life. I have a hope that yes, I would grow in my life. I have a hope that yes, one day I will definitely do something better for the society. So there are a lot of people with different ambitions. The next part is challenge. Challenge is the question, or rather you question your status. Many people love to be in a challenging situation wherein they love to unleash their inner potential, what they aspire to become. And that's where you always see many people, the real talent is, you are able to express your real talent, or rather expose your real talent in a difficult situation. And it is rightly said that difficult roads lead to a beautiful destination. Yes, my dear friends. So it is all related to your transformation, leading a change, showing some way, a different way. You'd rather pursue a different way. You won't rather just go with the mundane things. Someone, if you feel like most of you come from a family wherein your father or your parents might be from a specific profession, and they also urge their children that they should also follow the same profession. But yes, I have also seen many of my students, if they come from a family of entrepreneurs or businessmen, or from business family, their parents also have the same desire and aspiration that one day my son or my daughter would also take care of my business. But yes, on contrary, the children are not of the same mindset. They believe in something different. They want to have their own identity. So that's where the challenge there, a kind of generation of belief wherein if father is a doctor, son will also become a doctor. If father is a businessman, son will also become a businessman. But yes, if you dare to challenge yourself, it's good. But yes, while doing that, you also need to understand that, yes, what is my desire? What is my intention? If your intention, if your values are really good enough, it will really lead you to a good route or a good way altogether. Then commitment to the mission and, okay, so commitment is something, yes, we are committed, we are devoted to something, and that is one thing which you need to have. Now, why am I discussing all these points? Tomorrow, or once you pass out from your college, you are going to work in an organization. And all these values will definitely help you to create an impression in the minds of your managers, your colleagues, the different stakeholders with whom you would be working. So you need to understand that how values are really important. Gratitude, professionalism, these are all, quite self-explanatory, that having that gratitude to help someone, focus on others' requirement rather than focusing only on your requirement is also kind of gratitude. If someone helps you, you also show some kind of respect and care for that person. You show your gratitude, you show your, kind of a sympathy, or you have that kind of, value deep within you that, yes, someone has done good for me, so I would also do something good for them. Next is professionalism, which is very important in today's challenging corporate scenario or professional scenario. It also reflects your commitment. It also reflects your, expertise, your subject matterness, or if you're a subject matter expert. So this professionalism also reflects your knowledge and the kind of skills that you are having in yourself. So that also comes along with you. So these are all different values, and there are many more. So that's why I'm just giving you an example, but I want you to draw a kind of an image where you need to see yourself like a tree, and what values you have learned and what values you wish to acquire in your life. So this tree will definitely be more stronger day by day because its roots are deeply growing, penetrating the ground. And once your roots are strong, believe me, my dear friends, no one can, cut you off. No one can chuck you off because you're strong within. Even if situations come, they try to demolish you, but if your values are strong, it will definitely hold you as tall as a tree. Okay, so always remember, if anyone asks you what are values, you always give or symbolize the values like the roots of a tree. Then this image talks millions of words. A man of values. We all know who this gentleman is. He is Mr. Ratan Tata, the chairman of Tata Sons and one of the highly accomplished entrepreneur. And I would rather say he is a a gem of a person, because we all know how Tata derives values and what type of values they have given for generations. So when it comes to values, I have a beautiful example or a case study to discuss. We all know the tussle between Ratan Tata and Mr. Cyrus Mistry. It was a boardroom battle which went for almost 2-3 years. It all started in the year of 2016, wherein Tata, that is Mr. Ratan Tata, and one of his board director called or summoned Mr. Cyrus Mistry, and they asked him to put down his papers. Now, when Mr. Ratan Tata turned 75 years old, or when he celebrated his 75th birthday, that day he decided to step down as the chairman of Tata Sons. Now, Tata Sons is a big conglomerate altogether. We all know that they manufacture salt as well as they manufacture software. So it's a big company altogether. It's a trust. It's a big trust, and they have businesses spread across in more than 200 countries. I would rather say rather Tata Sons or Tata Company is the backbone of Indian economy. They have really helped Indian economy to flourish. So coming back to this case, when I talk about values, so when Ratan Tata and his board director summoned Mr. Cyrus Mistry to put down the papers, Cyrus Mistry refused to do so because there were some allegations on Cyrus Mistry of not following the code of conduct of Tata Group, and he was asked to put down the papers. Well, the story is a big story altogether. We won't be deep diving into all these things. But then there were certain decisions which were taken by Cyrus Mistry when he was appointed as the CEO of Tata Sons, when Mr. Ratan Tata stepped down as the chairman of Tata Sons when he turned 75 years old. Now, Cyrus Mistry successfully had completed 4 years of his service as a CEO of Tata Sons, but then suddenly when such decisions were taken against his, you can say candidature, when he was doing well in Tata Sons, but then there were certain allegations which were, designed, or rather, which were experienced by, or rather, it was given to Cyrus Mistry that he had taken certain decisions which were not in favor of Tata Groups. So when it comes to allegation, it means he had breached certain code of conduct. Now, when all these things happen, he definitely, Cyrus Mistry comes also from a very good background. He is the chairman of the Shapoorji Pallonji Group, which is a big empire altogether. And even the Mistry family has close to 18% stakeholdership in Tata Sons. So all these followed by, a case filed by Cyrus Mistry and his family members in the National Law Tribunal Court, and it all had series of allegations which even Mistry and family had put on Tata Sons. But all these things went against Mistry and company because they didn't have any merit on which they could succeed on the allegations which were counterfiled by Mistry and his family rather. But yes, you can do a deep study on this case because it's a very long case study. But again, the very basic question comes: why should Mr. Ratan Tata, when he decided that yes, he would be my successor once I stepped down as a chairman of Tata Sons, he might have shown certain, a kind of hope, or rather, he might have a strong feeling that yes, Cyrus can lead the Tata Group and company, and he can definitely flourish the the values and the reputation of Tata, which has been since long time. But then that didn't happen. There were certain projects wherein Mistry had taken his own decisions and he backed out of delivering what Tata Group and companies had promised to the stakeholders in one of the deal which they had with Docomo, one of the Chinese company in telecom services. But then the deal was such that if if like Tata Docomo in conglomeration or in a partnership of starting the Tata Docomo services in India, if it does not go well, then they had to pay some sort of a kind of a remuneration or a kind of a compensation to Docomo, a Japanese telecom company. But when it came to fulfilling the promise, Mistry backed out of not paying a certain amount, which was in $1 billion. And when Mr. Ratan Tata questioned it, that why are you not paying the said amount which we had discussed in the deal to Docomo company, he backed out. He said that this is will not be a good decision for us, and we are already in loss, and something like that happened. But then Tata, or Mr. Ratan Tata, he is always considered to be a man of values, and he promised what was there in the deal, and he ensured that Docomo gets the compensation of what it was there in the deal. So yes, there were many such series of situations which happened, which lead to Cyrus outset, or you can say the reasons for why Cyrus was asked to resign from Tata Sons. So yes, this is a very strong case for you to understand, read about this case, and try to dig in a lot of information why values are really important when it comes to your professionalism, when it comes to building a great goodwill and reputation in in the society, in the entire globe altogether. Because if you do not believe in values, people will never believe in you. Okay, so your values are always there, which will help you to serve the society, ensure that your customers believe in you as a company, as an organization, as a professional organization, or even as a professional. So people believe in Ratan Tata. People have strong faith in Ratan Tata. So that's how values. And even there were a series of episodes when 26/11 attack happened, and Taj Mahal was one of the high spot area wherein the terrorist had attacked the entire Taj Mahal, uh, the entire premises of Taj Mahal hotel was destroyed. People, almost hundreds of people died in Taj Mahal. But still, in spite of all these losses, Mr. Ratan Tata had, as usual, gave his helping hand and supported a lot of people in, giving them daily food, and he supplied regular food, and even he helped his employees who lost their lives and their families during the 26/11 episode. And there are a lot of things which you can read about Mr. Ratan Tata, how he has helped even in the crisis situation of COVID-19. Tata supplies food to all the hospitals in Mumbai free of cost to all the doctors and nurses. And the kind of food packages which are given, these are all sealed in hygiene conditions. They supply all the food materials to, and they had done this, as a service, as a, a kind of a part of a society, as a helping hand to all these doctors and nurses. So you can, think about values, and you always see Mr. Ratan Tata stands way above the kind of, you can say, in the corporate scenario or in the society. He has tremendous values which you can really think about. So let's move on. The next part is self-introspection. Now, what do you understand by self-introspection? We have decided, we talked a lot about values. We took one example. We talked about how values are deeply rooted inside us. But yes, to understand those values, self-introspection is equally important. Now, what is self-introspection? It is primarily, it is self-analysis. You see a very beautiful image of someone meditating. Meditation is also one of the best way of understanding, analyzing yourself on daily basis. Self-introspection is very important. You think about yourself, put yourself in a situation, what you would have done better and what you did in that situation. And believe me, students, if you do this exercise on regular basis, it will help you to cleanse certain, unrequired, dirt within your mind, within your heart. It's a best exercise to clean ourselves. Self-introspection is analyzing about ourselves. You question about your existence. You question about what have I done? What should I, or what should be done in a better way? Self-introspection gives you a lot of, it leverages those kind of ideas which are deep within you. And believe me, everyone has those good values somewhere deep within our heart. But because of situations, because of some kind of experiences that we have gone through, we might have just, kind of camouflaged those values, and we feel that we don't have that. So self-introspection is a very deep exercise. You can connect it with meditation, but it also, I would always request you that spend some time alone, think about it. And, you will always feel relaxed. You'll always feel, and a lot of ideas will flow within your heart, your mind. And that's how self-introspection is really important. Now, I have an activity for you, which you can do it as you are going through this video. Write down 10 qualities you know about yourself. Any good 10 qualities that you know about yourself. So as I already told you that please keep your pen and paper or your notebook ready, because I have a lot of things for you. You need to just write down those 10 qualities. Now draw an iceberg. You all know that iceberg. You might have seen Titanic movie and it's quite famous for that. So I want you to draw an iceberg. Now iceberg is something I'll just show you in the next image how you need to draw an iceberg. Now, as you have written those 10 qualities of yours, okay? Now 10% of the iceberg which we see, which is above the ocean, you need to write those 10 qualities which are highly visible to people. You might have received some kind of appreciation from different people. Yes, people call me smart, intelligent, I am hardworking, and so on. And you might have received such kind of applauses or praises from your friends, your families, your teachers, professors, or any relatives with whom you have interacted. 90%, which is the deeper section of your qualities which you have written, you need to write it down. Those qualities you feel like I may possess, but I am not aware of, or rather no one has really praised me for those kind of qualities or values, right? Now place these values which you have written accordingly on the iceberg. So rather I will just give you an example that how you need to do is. Now this is the real story of anyone. Let's say you put yourself in this scenario. This is an iceberg. Now you can see almost 80% is deep within the ocean. Now ocean is nothing but something which is hidden and which is not really visible to others. 10% people know that what they see, looking at you, looking at your behavior or the experiences that people might have had with you. So people will say, okay, he's a or she is a very helpful person. She has or he has a good nature. She is always smiling or he is always smiling. People may even give false praises. Sometimes people are little blunt on our faces. You're not a good person. You are like, you're very angry. You're very hyper. You're very sensitive. You're very emotional. So the list goes on. But yes, deep within ourselves, like the iceberg, we know that what values or what qualities we have. So something like skills, knowledge, which may be visible, okay, people see and look at your academic scores and they say, oh, you're very intelligent, you're very good in maths, you're very good in science, you're very good in language. The list is on. But do they really know 80% or 90% which lies below the iceberg, or rather below the ocean, the iceberg? It consists maybe your values, your self-image, your traits, your motives, your desires, something which people do not know. There might be a lot of people who are bathroom singers. When they go to take shower, they will sing wonderful songs, but people outside, they don't know that you can be a good singer. I'm not saying, boss, you have to go to Indian Idol and sing. That's not my case. But yes, you might be having some hidden skills that you need to understand. And that's how you need to do a kind of a self-evaluation or self-introspection that will help you to understand the 80% values which are deep within your self, like the iceberg. So I hope you would do this exercise, and then it will help you to understand that what you are. This is the real you that you would understand. And that is why we are going to do the self-introspection. Now, I have a very short story when it comes to this model, very interesting story, okay? Now, you might be seeing a cub, a herd of sheep and a lion. Now, we all know lion is considered to be, or is called as the king of jungle. So it's a very interesting story before I wind up my session. Now, there was a lioness in a jungle, and she was pregnant. And while delivering the baby cub, she could not bear the labor pains and she passed away. This poor cub was very sad because he was all alone. He lost his mother. He was very hungry. And out of the herd of sheep, there was one sheep. She realized like, how the cub is very small and his mother passed away and no one is there for him to take care. Now, out of humanity, or rather not humanity, I would say, she felt very sad. She thought, like, if she considered that baby cub as if it is her own child. Okay, so that sheep took that cub and she started taking care of this cub. Eventually, this cub was playing and his childhood was going along with the sheep. And there were also baby sheep, and along with them, this cub was, playing and learning all the skills of a sheep. And we all know that sheep is a kind of emotional animal. It's not like lion. You nowhere compare with the traits of a lion and a sheep. And lion, like sheep, is always the prey of a lion. So lion is a king of a jungle, no doubt. So as this cub was growing, it started developing the traits of sheep. Because lion, or this cub, I would say the cub, as it was growing, it started developing the traits of sheep because it was within them. And one fine day, the sheep, they started making fun of this cub. That, what are you? You have so much of hair on your body, and you don't look like us. You are very different. You don't have those skills which are there, or rather, you don't suit in our family. You're not considered, or you are very different. You're very ugly, or rather, you're very different. You don't really, you cannot be considered as a part of a family. I don't know why my mother, took you to our family. This cub felt very bad. It started crying. And one fine day, when this cub was with the herd of sheep, this lion came. He saw the sheep from far distance, and it started attacking on them. And to his surprise, this cub also started, looking at the lion. The cub also started running along with them, as if it had the same traits, obviously, like the sheep. And this lion, when he saw that this cub is also running along with the sheep, he was surprised, he was astonished to know that how come this cub, he belongs to our category, he belongs to our breed. How come this lion or this cub is running and he's so scared? Why it is happening? Then one fine day, this lion went to that cub, and this cub was this baby cub, or rather, this poor chap was very scared. Like, how come this lion has come to me? I'm a little scared now. But this lion said, "My dear son," he called him his son because he was very small. He took him to the nearest lake and he asked him to look into the water. For the first time, this cub had seen himself. He saw his image in the water. Then he realized, I'm not like the sheep. Yes, they were right. I'm different. And then this lion told this cub, "My dear son, you might have been born and brought up in that breed, but you should know your value. You should know your worth. You belong to the lion family. You are the king of the jungle. Don't be like them." For the first time, this cub realized how his value is, what is his worth. So the story or the moral of the lesson or the story is, whatever you take it from this story, but my learnings, I would say that you don't have control on what surroundings you might have come from. Yes, but yes, a situation will come like a lion to give you a kind of a reflection of what you are and where you should be. So you should know your worth, your place in your life. And that is what the story is all about. So that will help you to take those kind of strides in your life. So it is very important that we all do a self-reflection, a self-analysis. Now, when you do all these things, we also will come across the SWOT analysis process, which is all about your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, what are the strengths and weaknesses? We all know that it is all the qualities that we have. The strengths probably would be your qualification, your technical skills, your programming skills, the skills which you are really good at, and that may be helpful in gaining the professional or the kind of a job that you're looking out for, the professional breakthrough that you're looking out for. So a professional qualification, certifications which you have, then it also may be your expertise in certain things, the projects, the campaigns which you have led or which you have been part of, that can be your strength. Weaknesses can be, do you have the necessary skills or qualifications to be a part of a organization of or to be a part of a big conglomerate? Do you possess the necessary skill sets so that you can see yourself growing to that level? So these are nothing, like, I won't really say weaknesses, but these are certainly your areas of improvement. Opportunities can be the kind of market conditions, like if you go and see the market, depending on your skill sets, are you getting the sufficient job interview calls? Or related to your skill sets, do you have the relevant job opportunities in the market? So these are all part of all your SWOT analysis process. And obviously the threats are the kind of poised challenges, the competition in the market, the slowness in the market because of pandemic situation. And it will definitely also relate to your personal traits, which are kind of a hindrance in your growth process. So you need to do a kind of a SWOT analysis once you also start doing your self-introspection. It is a good, healthy exercise to ensure that where you stand and where you want to be in your life. So you are all winners. but just a change of your perception will take you to the place which you desire to. Okay, so always when you get up in the morning, please ensure that you always talk to yourself and tell yourself that you are a winner. You are born winner. Situations will come. Even in every match, Sachin Tendulkar never strike or scored a century. There were times when he used to go on duck, but then he still used to come with that confidence, with that pride that yes, I'm a winner. I will definitely score a century this match. There would be losses in the businesses, but that doesn't mean there is an end. Every broken crayon can also be used for coloring. So there is no end, but situations come to teach you something, not to break you. So define your self-worth, understand your self-worth, and that will lead to a different success story which you have always dreamt. So I end my session over here. Probably I would leave series of questions which you need to ask for yourself and think about it. What keeps you happy? What steps are you taking to keep yourself happy? Do some self-analysis. Understand the values that you need to have and that you possess within yourself. And as a tree, how you can grow and flourish by developing those values, ensuring that those values are deeply penetrating and giving you that kind of sturdiness in this competitive world. So my dear friends, I really wish you all the best for your career, and please take these series of sessions in a very serious way. Do deep thinking on all the topics which we are discussing. Ask questions and ensure that you are able to develop those skills other than what you are obviously doing or in your regular course related to technical, non-technical courses that you're doing. And it is my earnest request, please take care of yourself and be a smart learner. With this, I wind up my session and looking forward for the next series of sessions which we have lined up. Thank you so much. Take care.